You look good, brother.
Woo! Good afternoon. Good evening, my friends. Oh my God. I'm not used to going live in the nighttime anymore. Pearl Dever, oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Free Karen Reed. Remember for 6 months, free Karen Reed, justice for John O'Keefe. Karen is freed. Pearl. Hello. I'm going to need you to get with us here in the future, 1985. Oh man. Liz gifted a membership as she always does. Thank you so much, Liz. We love you. And Plot Twist Penning is a member for 7 months. Thank you so much. Man, okay. Just giving you shit, Pearl. Oh, man. Yeah, Karen is freed, man. It's awesome. I think, Jesus, this might be the first stream I've done in at least a year that I didn't play the Chris Loring song. Kind of sad because I'm gonna miss it, but it served its purpose and it helped educate a lot of people. And it was awesome. It is awesome. It's always gonna be awesome. Yeah, listen, bro. I'm working on that. Okay, I'm working on that. Just relax. I'm working on it. But I'm still satisfied because I know it's a different shoe. Yeah, I did meet Vinny, man. That's really awesome. I totally met Vinny. Sorry about that. I totally met Vinny. That was cool. It was on Just to Serve TV's live stream. And he was just kind of looking at me like, yeah, I don't think Vinny's crazy about me, and I don't blame him. I've been quite critical of him and Court TV. But Vinny, the thing is, Vinny did cover, make no mistake, Vinny did cover this verdict and the verdict watch absolutely beautifully. Absolutely beautifully, superbly. Um, and he didn't do a bad job with the rest of it. It's just that it's like court TV. It's like they're telling people to be reluctant with their information and what they disclose and it's or what they discuss, information that's already made public. So why not discuss it is the problem. But I get the feeling that Vinny's the kind of guy that wants to discuss that stuff. It just is he's been put limitations on. So yeah, that was just amazing. That was just great. He's right. And he won a lot of extra credits at the Glare School of Law and stuff. He won a lot of extra credits when he schooled John DePepe. That was just amazing. That, yeah, and then this other John guy, like we gotta watch that because I don't think it's uploaded yet. I gotta check. Let me see. But we need to go over that. There's a lot of stuff we're gonna go over. There's definitely gonna be a lot of stuff that we're gonna go over. Um oh my god, hello. Oh my god. Dude, here we go, bro. I'm 99% sure this is it because it just uploaded and it was from last night. We're watching this. We're going through it, bro.
The trial was unlike any we have ever seen at court TV. The verdict was shocking, and the scene outside the courthouse unparalleled. The trial of Karen Read is one that will be remembered for years to come. Some will remember the Free Karen Read movement, led by a man known as Turtle Boy, and the Sea of Pink that covered the streets around the courthouse for 2 years and 2 trials. Some will remember the controversy surrounding the investigation and a disgraced state trooper named Proctor. Some will remember the wild experiments done by the experts from both sides with expensive Lexus SUVs. Some will never forget the words, "not guilty," and the reaction at the courthouse and online. And hopefully, none will forget the man who lost his life on that snowy night in Canton, Massachusetts. Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Tonight, we get new insight into the verdict as Juror 11 joins us live for the hour for an in-depth, insightful interview as we continue our coverage of the retrial of the century.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments, still in the aftermath of the retrial of the century and that verdict in Dedham, Massachusetts. I want to begin here. Let's remember him, John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe, who was a brave Boston police officer who served for many, many years, 16 years. John O'Keefe, who when there was a family tragedy and a second family tragedy where his niece and nephew lost their mother and father within months of one another, as a single Boston police officer, he jumped in and raised those children over the course of 7 years until he died. The truth didn't come out. The truth didn't come out. The only way the truth comes out is if something is proven beyond any and all reasonable doubt, and that didn't happen in this case. But we can't forget Boston police officer John O'Keefe.
Now let me piggyback off of what Vinny's saying here because he's absolutely 100% right. If there's going to be any hope for justice for John O'Keefe, that's the person we need to be hyper focused on when it comes to hoping for justice for John O'Keefe. is simply thinking about him, thinking about his niece and nephew, keeping them in mind, whatever loved ones. I mean, even though, I know this is going to be it's going to split the room a little, but, I still hope that, of course, I hope that Peggy O'Keefe and Paul O'Keefe and everyone else that loved John get peace too. Um, you know, I don't know what their reasons were for buying into that sham that was happening, but they still lost John and lost people they love, and I think that they deserve justice as much as anyone else. So, and I hope they get it. But the fact remains that the words that Karen Reed said outside of that courthouse after that not guilty verdict uh were absolutely true. No one has fought harder for justice than for John O'Keefe than she has. No one has. That's a fact. Her and her team have by creating her defense. They could have just went with reasonable doubt. That would have been open and shut. All they had to do is just focus on the science and the data. That's all they had to do. They did not have to bring in a third-party culprit defense. They did not have to point out these facts about what happened in the house and what didn't happen in the house. They didn't have to do any of that. They didn't have to cross-examine the McAlberts as vigorously as they did, risking the jury thinking that they might be attacking innocent people. They didn't have to do that. That was ballsy and risky. Make no mistake about that. So that's a fact. And I hope the O'Keefes come to that realization at some point. Because it's not an opinion. I'm simply stating I hope that the O'Keefes come to the realization that the facts dictate Karen Reed did not do this and that the real killers have duped them. But here we are. I want to take a second also to say here on the Glare that this community will miss. I think I could speak for us all. Will miss very much Gonzo of LV Cops TV. He's leaving the channel and he's leaving YouTube for personal reasons. But he's one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, and I'm gonna miss interacting with him and seeing him on LV Cops. I'll still be watching them because Steve and Brian are still gonna go on. So I'm excited about that. But Gonzo will be missed. But we were discussing this, and we were discussing the hope that we all have that the feds are going to start handing out indictments, that the U.S. Attorney's Office is going to pick this case up and continue this investigation and start handing out some indictments. Because, I mean, I think it's fair to say that we all believe that there is enough evidence to move forward with something like this. I think there's plenty of it, but what do I know? But the fact is throughout following this case, my common sense has been validated time after time after time by well-educated and insightful people. And for that, I am extremely grateful, humbled, and love the fact that this has also been like the biggest learning experience of my life, just the most fruitful of learning experiences. And I'm of the opinion that there is enough evidence, frankly, to get a conviction. We were kind of speculating a little bit as to, is somebody going to flip or, but I believe that they're going to collect enough evidence to where they don't really need anybody to flip. They don't really need anybody to, you know, so I'm just hoping for that, but I'm just hoping. But in doing so, when we hope for this, the best way to go about this, in my opinion, the focus of one's energy should be on wanting justice for John O'Keefe rather than wanting the McAlberts to pay. Because at the end of the day, we are that very large group of people who stayed faithful to the truth, and the truth came through. We put all our faith in the truth, and the truth persevered. It just did. So, in that same spirit, since we have the right on our side, it feels like the best way to direct our energy is on wanting justice for John O'Keefe and his loved ones, no matter who they may be. And those responsible will meet whatever fate that they meet. So let's just hope for that.
Now, another question. What will she do now? Karen Reed. This has been her life, literally, for 3.5 years. Fighting these charges, proclaiming her innocence, and then claiming her innocence inside of a courtroom where a jury found her not guilty. And I say claiming her innocence because she was presumed innocent from the beginning. That presumption remains as the judge instructs the jury in every case up until the point that they are proven beyond a reasonable doubt to be guilty. That never happened in this case. So that cloak of innocence that our system of justice gives her, she's still wearing that. So what will she do next? What will she do? A few days ago, she didn't know if she'd be spending the rest of her life behind bars. Now she's not. So we'll keep an eye on Karen Reed and see what she does with this time, with this life that she has ahead of her after going through what she went through in the last 3.5 years. Now here at Court TV, we showed you what happened. We showed you the testimony. We showed you the evidence. We explained the motions that were filed. We brought in analysts. Then when it came time for the jury to decide, we showed you what happened. We showed you the reaction. Tonight, we're going to tell you why it happened. How are we going to do that? We're going to take you inside the jury room because we've got one of the deliberating jurors joining us tonight right here on the program for this hour. And during the hour, I'm going to ask all the questions that I believe you want asked. And we're going to find out.
This isn't what I thought it was. Hold on a second. Yeah, maybe they just haven't posted it yet, or maybe they just won't. But I don't know. Let me try this. I'm going to try, because I only saw the clip, but I wanted to see the whole Court TV segment because it aired. You know what I mean? But I don't think they've uploaded it to YouTube yet. And I don't think if I wanted to watch it, it would have to be on their site. And live, I mean. So hold on a second. All right. Well, I have to play this real quick. This has to be played.
Is a fellow cop.
Man, I'm going to tell you that is some.
What could be more egregious? What could be more misleading?
To save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop.
Man, I'm going to tell you that is some bad luck when the one guy who would have died for you kills you. That's not You don't get worse luck than that.
Oh my God, dude. Who was that? Was that my man? Yeah, that was RG Larry Legend, homie, that made that right there. God, I'm trying to find. Okay, no, not even close. Because there was, yeah, where is that clip, man? All right. That's annoying. Because I was like tagged in it. So now I got to look through my, hold on. This might work. God, man, it's so much. Like I'm like tagged so much that I can't find. Oh well, yeah. I don't think I don't want to spend the rest of the stream sitting here looking for it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like this dude was on Vinny's last night, and Vinny snapped at this dude, bro. It was awesome. Like, I don't know, maybe I could find it in my replies because I think I said something about it. Okay, I got it. It's right here. This is like 15 minutes long. Okay. All right, we're good. It was worth it, y'all.
He is a close friend of John O'Keefe. They were good friends since college. I can understand this can't be easy, but I need you to help us understand what it's like from the other side. That story hasn't been told enough. How are you personally handling what transpired and the verdict in this case?
That's the lead-in. That's the lead-in to this. That's the footage of the lead-in to this. That's Vinny. We saw you out there. We saw you with your pink tie. We saw you just bathing in the sea of pink.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Didn't wear a pink tie, John. Didn't wear a pink tie, John.
You hold it up. You held it up, right?
No, I didn't. I held up a red tie, John. If you've watched.
So right out of the gate, whoever this guy is, and as I understand it, he pushed a woman. He pushed a Karen Reed supporter at some point. But this guy is an asshole. And I don't imagine the kind of guy that everyone's claiming that John is, being this really nice guy, that he probably thought much of a guy like this. I wouldn't imagine that. Not the kind of person that John's loved ones are painting him out to be. And I believe him to be that because Karen's camp are confirming this as well. So I just don't imagine that this John would appreciate this guy representing him in the way that he is. And this guy, he attacks Vinny right out of the gate, dude. And this isn't the first time. Okay, the video we were just watching, that's not the first time. That's the most recent video that he uploaded to YouTube. That's not the first time that Vinny has made sure to remind his audience to remember John O'Keefe, who he was. It's not the first time I've seen him do that. It's not the second or third either. So this guy is immediately attacking this guy with misinformation. This John Jackson, whoever the fuck he is.
Watch me. If you've watched my career,
So
every verdict I wear a red tie. So
Your
I switched
career
from
is
the
interesting.
purple. From the purple.
the career is interesting.
Okay, this is the way it's going to go. Let's
the career
go.
is fantastic. The career is fantastic. Look, up until this case, we all watched you. We all did. We all watched, you know, any case that had any kind of interest to us, we watched. But I just watched that interview with that juror. Well, I was here to talk about something completely different. And it's unfortunate because
Okay, let's talk about whatever you want to talk about, John. I'll give you an
Yeah, right there. Vinny sees a window to get this guy back on fucking track because he just hijacked Vinny's whole show with attacking Vinny. With bullshit. With shit that doesn't exist. With a goddamn lie. That's what he just did. He hijacks Vinny's show, accusing him of some shit wrongly. And Vinny was telling the straight truth. That's what he did. We made fun of him for it. We made fun of him for exactly what he just described happened. And it happened exactly the way that he said. I got to wear a purple tie. You know, yeah, dude. I'm a Neapolitan and I can't even wear a pink tie anymore. It was funny. We laughed. We had a good time. Like he made it a point to say that he wasn't going to wear a pink tie. And he's like, oh, you held it up. You held it up. No, he held up a red fucking tie, dude. And he said he wears a red tie for every verdict. That's what he said. Every verdict he wears a red tie.
give you an opportunity. It's not a problem.
I can't believe what I just heard from that. I mean, I just watched the show, so I can't believe what I just heard that juror say. So many things. I mean, I just went over it. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. Believes the dog bite theory.
Okay, you got to shut up for a second, dude, because
oh, here we go.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
How dare you?
it makes me laugh every time. That or Ash, thank you so much. Let's see how much the McAlberts show up for the O'Keefe's lawsuit. I'm thinking not so much. Right. Turtle, you know, the dude. Thanks for using your platform to keep an innocent woman out of prison. There's so many unsung heroes from this case, and you are one of them. I hope now we can finally find justice for John. Man, that means a lot. Thank you, the Turtle, you know. And the Turtle, you know, again. Oh, it's the same one. Okay. I hope you didn't have to send that twice, buddy. Give him fucking McDonough. What's up, Bestie? Hold on. Let's listen to what this fucking jackass has to say.
Theory, but they didn't really present it at trial. Those are her words. Barrows. She talked about Officer Barrows.
Bro, is this guy using a 2008 fucking Bluetooth? What is this guy doing right now? Like, he looks like security for Obama's campaign.
She apparently missed the the cross-examination, although she did hat tip to Mr. Hank Brennan for his cross-examinations. But hey, look, I'd love to talk about Johnny.
John, let me give you an opportunity. You could talk about whatever you want. As a guest on this show, you can talk about whatever you want right
bro.
now.
Like, see, Vinny understands, bro. This guy, like, you just give somebody rope, man. You know, that's not on Vinny. If this guy makes an ass of himself, that shit ain't on Vinny. So Vinny's like, yeah, man, knock yourself out. You can talk about anything you fucking want, bro. Knock yourself out.
You've got the microphone. We've got the camera. You have a question for me? For you want to talk about the juror, the way she saw the case? That's fine. You've answered my question that I have already. I sense that you are absolutely livid. You're unhappy. There's a sense of anger. So my question's answered.
Yeah.
I'll give you an opportunity to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
So let me just run through it. Okay, it's been a couple of days. So the first couple of days, you know, obviously we were all together when the verdict came out, and it was rough, man. It was you know, you sat through the whole case and you watch everything come and go, all the evidence come and go, and look, to us, the prosecution put on a good case, and to us, that data from her car and from Johnny's cell phone told the whole story. Right. So,
no, it didn't. We know she was right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, we know that she was right there, dude. Like, there's no conclusive time. They can't even theorize when the impact took place or where it took place. The prosecution presented no evidence at all, no plausible evidence at all, no credible evidence at all to support that Karen Reed struck Boston police officer John O'Keefe with their Lexus SUV. It just doesn't track. It's simple. Like, it just doesn't. Like, listen, when there is anyone up there who saw anybody sitting there on a public platform who saw that blue paint bullshit and is sitting there going, oh, the jury made a mistake here. The jury must have been tampered with. Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's all I need to know about them. I'm like, there's no way that you should be allowed to operate a motor vehicle, because like, there's something wrong with your brain. There's something wrong with your brain. Like, how are you supposed to, when you see that blue paint bullshit, how are you supposed to trust that person behind the wheel of a car and make sound judgment as to when there's an accident that's taking place in front of them? Are they going to make the right decisions? Because they can't understand the concept of simple physics. You know, simple physics. Like, if I bounce a ball at a certain height, like from a certain height, I can estimate how high the ball is going to come up, which is why I can catch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you throw a ball at a fast enough speed at a wall, you can estimate like how like where it's going to go, how fast it's coming, and that's how you're able to catch it, right? So anybody who looks at that blue paint bullshit can't do something that simple and say, you look at that blue paint experiment, you shouldn't be allowed to operate a motor vehicle because you're too stupid. It should be an IQ test, not even an IQ test, just a simple fucking motor, what do you call it? Motor functions test that people have. Like, you just got to be able to do that. Because, yeah, like, there should be a survey. Like, if we were under some crazy fucking dictatorship, right? Like, I could see them being like, okay, put out a survey. Who thought that the blue paint thing was a plausible and proved that John O'Keefe was struck by Karen's SUV? And then anybody who does, then they're coming in droves, like those, like in hazmat suits and SWAT gear, and banging on your door and then pulling you out. And then they're giving you like forced lobotomies, dude, because you shouldn't be walking around operating things. You know what I mean? So this dude right here is clearly really stupid. He's clearly stupid. Yeah, he's just dumb.
We're not hearing too much about that right now from these jurors. I'm a little surprised. Look,
And he's just dumb because like he thought he was doing something noble by attacking Vinny on his own show the way that he just did. He thought it was going to make him look good to the public. He's on TV. He willingly went on TV. Oh, if he lets me on TV, I'm going to let that guy have it. I'm going to tell him about the ties. You don't think I will? Saul Rosenberg, thank you. This guy has always ignored the evidence and just deflects and says, I want to talk about Johnny. Right. I mean, right. And that's all he should be allowed to talk about. Honestly, that's fine. But the thing is if he does that and starts it off by behaving like that, he already fucked it up. Nobody is looking at this guy and thinking, oh, this guy's a good spokesperson for a friend of the victim. Not at all. Nobody. For those people that this is just entertainment to, this guy is no good. He's the character everybody goes, You know what I mean? For those people who are thinking of this story as just sheer entertainment, he's the character that they don't like right now because, well, he's not the character they don't like right now. He's completely insignificant, really, in reality. But by watching this, those watching this are looking at him like he's just unlikable and he shouldn't be speaking for John. Not the John that we want to remember him as. This is not the guy to do it. Because he's got a shit attitude. And every time he goes on TV, he treats people and talks to people like shit. And shows up in front of the damn courthouse pushing people around. Guy's a fucking bully. It's not somebody that's indicative of wanting to remember John by.
I came out that night. I said, look, we respect the jury's decision. I mean, that's how it is, and it's okay. That's the process. I'm to be honest, I'm stunned at what I just saw. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I wasn't really there until I just saw that interview, and it kind of put me there. It is literally like the social media side of this. And the blogging side of this and the law tuber side of this just came out of that juror's mouth. I'm actually stunned. I
love that. You know why? Because the jury, all they did was validate everybody's shit, dude. That's all that happened. People who knew what the fuck they were talking about made predictions, speculated as to what was going on. That's what we do. That's what we all do. I sat there on Defense Diaries podcast with a panel of brilliant lawyers. I was the only motherfucker on there that wasn't a lawyer. All of them brilliant. Every single one of them. And we were simply speculating what's going on. And it was all based on the evidence. We just all knew the evidence. And we all knew the evidence. And we all knew that, and we all knew what the very confusing jury, the verdict form was, the verdict slip was. It was simple. It's a simple case of knowing the evidence because you've already seen it. You've been following this forever. You have been watching the trial, watching recaps of the trial, breaking down witness testimony. This is what we've been doing for months. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we've been doing for fucking months and months and months. And all that juror did was confirm and validate everything we've been doing. Because what the juror did was their job. The jury, but I was speaking of the jury he's talking about. But the jury did their job. They reviewed the evidence objectively from all perspectives possible and then deliberated to make a decision on whether or not they convict. And they understood two key, important, vital things that a jury needs to remember. A, that defendant is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And B, I'm having a brain fart on B. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. She's already presumed innocent. So I already forgot the other one. Sorry about that. Regina Crawford. I'm so mad if people are criticizing this juror. I remember the other one, but I'm going to lose it. And it is the prosecution's job. It is the Commonwealth's burden to present that evidence. It is their burden to present that evidence. It is not on the defense to prove Karen's innocence. So this jury understood that. This jury reviewed the evidence, and that evidence is nothing but reasonable doubt. All of it is reasonable doubt. Every single shred of so-called evidence in this case coming from the Commonwealth is riddled with reasonable doubt, simply due to credibility issues, chain of custody issues, time lapses in witness statements. Failure to properly investigate the initial scene, first responders. Everything about this case has been wrong, from the first responder to the Commonwealth's last cross-examination. Everything. All the way. So you have to be a fool. You have to be a fool to think that there's even a chance that Karen Reed struck John O'Keefe with her vehicle. You have to be a fucking fool.
I wasn't here, but I can't believe I just heard it. It kind of put me in a position, and I'm sorry, didn't mean to start off that way. And then
hey, John,
the video.
your emotions are real. You're entitled to your emotions.
Of course they are.
This is an incredible loss.
And Vinny's just being classy because he's got to be, but and maybe just Vinny's like that, and that's cool. But, being emotional is one thing, but taking it out on the host of the show with a lie that was irrational, incredibly irrational and shitty. I don't give a fuck. That's a grown man. He's not a child. You know what I'm saying? That's okay for a little kid to do. That's not okay for a grown fucking man.
And I've seen cases of not guilties before. I know it can be crushing. I know it can create anger. And I just want to hear it. I want to hear your side of this. So hearing what we heard from juror number 11 tonight and the way things went down, where do you point blame anywhere for why this result came out, a result that you don't believe in at all?
Yeah, so obviously, there's a couple places we'd like to put some blame, but let me start off again. We respect the process, right? If the process is fair, if there's no thing.
See what I mean? See what I mean, dude? I just call bullshit on that. The process wasn't fair, but the only person it wasn't fair to was Karen Reed. Like, all of the evidence dictates this. Everyone's behavior from fucking the first responders to Bev. Thank God the jury was like, no, what the fuck is going on here?
Fingers on the scale. We respect the process, and the jurors spoke. So that's it, right? I mean, we understand that's it.
Yeah.
But what we don't appreciate is the narrative that got away from us pretty early was a false narrative. So, trial 1, trial 2, both of them, in the, the popularity of the movement grew, and as the movement grew, it drew in more and more media types, traditional media, new media, drew them all in, and they went and chased the clicks, and they chased the likes, and they chased the popularity, which is fine. That's what they do. But what we feel is that at some point, I mean, look outside that courthouse, right? The family heard the cheers. Brother, friend, son. They heard the cheers, and it was devastating, right? So,
see what this guy just on all these people fail to understand. It's one simple thing. They all fail to understand that those people cheering were not just because Karen Read was vindicated. It's because the next step towards getting justice for John O'Keefe was just achieved. It just took place. That next step was moved out of the way. It was done. Now we're taking one step forward towards justice for John O'Keefe, because we couldn't get there. We can't get there had not Karen Read been acquitted of this crime. That's the next step. All of those people in pink were cheering for that reason, as well as the fact that the Reads will finally begin to get peace. Make no mistake about that.
The media needs to take responsibility for their part in this. I'm not saying it was totally there, but for their part in this, for allowing themselves to choose sides, for allowing themselves to be part of the fuel for that fire that caught and wound up outside of that courthouse. So yeah, some of the blame goes there.
So go ahead. No, continue. I don't want to cut you off. I thought you were done. Continue.
Look, so the problem is for us too. We've lived this for 3.5 years, and we've every piece of evidence that came in, both sides. We can be objective about it and say when things went poorly for us and when things went well for us, and it just even when things went well for us. Again, jury.
See, this guy's looking at things in terms of sides. And that tells you a lot. But also, it's just really fascinating to me that, he wants to blame the public and everyone talking about this case. And he thinks that it was just became a hashtag just for a hashtag, free Karen Read. And nobody actually gave a shit about getting to the truth. And they just don't give a shit about a cop killer going free. That's not what happened at all. What happened was we live in a true crime culture now. Okay. This is just what it is. This is what generally almost every woman loves, a good true crime documentary. Shit. Before the Massachusetts, good people of Massachusetts have adopted me, my demographic was 90% female. 90%. Now it's like 70. But it's just what it is. That's the demographic is for, and there's a lot of men too. And it's a big thing because you have a lot of, couples, married couples that love to sit around and watch true crime documentaries. You know what I mean? Like, if I ever settle down with a girl, that's just something that's going to have to be, you know what I mean? And I figure that's going to be fairly easy. That's just whatever. That's like being like, okay, she's got to be blonde, easy peasy. Because everybody likes, couples love to sit around and do that now. So it's a popular thing. It's just that it's really important, man, to look at these things and really, like, what this used to be fun to do for is really reviewing the evidence. And we were really blessed because we had a lot of access to filings and we had access to everything. So there was a lot to review. We didn't have to trust the media for information. We were just getting pissed because the media was not giving the information, and there were people who were not looking into this case and counting on the media for the information. But I mean, yeah, man, we were rich in information in this case. The public was. So everybody who really, really anybody who was so inclined had the luxury of being able to review any document you needed to review, except for the FBI, the TUI reports. I mean, that's amazing. So there's really no excuse. Like there's literally no excuse to have all of that information available. Yeah, thank you, Sleuthy Goosey. To have all of that information available and and not report on it. It doesn't track, you know? And to have all that information available and be aware of it and think still that Karen Reed could have done this. It's just absurd. And not think that Higgins had something to do with his death. Why would you not think that Higgins had something to do with his death? Like, that's just fucking stupid. Sorry. If you're doubting that simply because he's an ATF agent or simply because he's a veteran, like, I get all that. Those are commendable things, sure. But not when you act like that. And not when you do the things that this guy did. Like, the fact of the matter is Karen Reed was intellectually way beyond Brian Higgins. Like, she was way out of his league, you know? Like, let's just face the facts. We're talking physically, we're talking with life experience, we're talking with attitude, we're talking with confidence, we're talking with intelligence. I mean, Karen Reed just was not, this is not a woman that a guy like Brian Higgins can handle. He can't. I mean, he demonstrated that he can't. You know what I'm saying? We saw it. He demonstrated it. It's in those text messages and it's in his behavior at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. It's just simple. So, I mean, this is a guy who had the worst confidence problems. Who knows? I mean, maybe he could fucking raid the hell out of a house. You know, maybe he could fucking take out 10 dudes, pop, 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 and, you know, and kill the bad guys real good. Awesome. Cool. But the problem is that all that stuff doesn't change the fact that you acted the way that you did with this woman and then acted the way that you did at the time of John O'Keefe's alleged death. Well, not his alleged death, but at the alleged time of his death. I mean, and you bring your lawyer to you. I mean, of course, everybody's supposed to do that, but it still looks shady coming from you. I mean, it's ridiculous that we're sitting here and there's anybody here who has a doubt. Like, He was motioning in an aggressive manner to John across the bar, angry. Chris Albert tries to restrain him. Brian Albert says something to his brother, blah, blah, blah. They say something. They go outside. And John smiles, takes a swig of his beer, and dances a jig. And then just minutes later, John is allegedly, minutes later, John is dead. I mean,
Juror 11 here. There was, look, Miss Hank Brennan, Adam Lally, Attorney McLaughlin, they put on a good case. And it's unfortunate because I'm looking now. This doesn't look like it ever had a chance. It doesn't. A couple of other.
Yeah, I simply think that this all happened and it just went wrong. This all happened. I don't think that Higgins ever even really wanted to hurt John. I don't believe that. He liked John. You could tell that he liked John in the text messages to Karen. I don't believe that Higgins even really wanted to hurt John. I think that he was willing to hurt John to impress Brian Albert. That's what makes it worse. I think that he was perfectly willing to hurt John, or worse, in order to impress Brian Albert. But I don't think that he had the anger towards John to initiate the desire to. I don't believe that. And that's what makes it so sad. And that's part of the reason why I think that he'll flip at some point. If there's enough pressure from the proper law enforcement, if there's enough pressure from the proper authorities, then he will definitely make a deal. I'm convinced of it because I think he wants to. I think he wants to. Because this is a big shift in events. Make no mistake about that. This is a big shift in events for the McAlberts. They were counting on that conviction, man. Now, the tides have shifted. Things have changed. They needed that. They don't have it. They lost. No other reason why they would do that interview, and we're going to watch this. I'm actually sick of looking at this guy. But my man Microdots is in the chat, and we need to watch this because Microdots and his analysis. Now, I hadn't even watched this interview yet. But before I do, I need everyone to stop what they're doing. Stop what they're doing. And I need everyone to click on this link that I just dropped in the chat and give the video to the link a like. Okay? Make sure to do that right now. Stop whatever you're doing and do that because Microdots is the shit. And I'm going to piggyback off of some of his thoughts here because this is a fascinating analysis. And this is just Microdots doing what he does best. All right. No. All right. I'm dropping the link in chat one more time. So in case you have not clicked on this and given the video a like, do so now, please.
The criminal justice system has let us down at every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here.
The
Wow.
Alberts and McCabe's are here because the criminal justice system has let them down, despite being among the most well-connected law enforcement families in Massachusetts. In reality, they've benefited from extraordinary protection, including the district attorney himself violating his own code of ethics to personally vouch for their credibility while insinuating Reed murdered John O'Keefe in an attempt to taint the jury pool, all while enjoying the privileged status of witness for the past 3 years, a designation that's granted them a direct line to Michael Morrissey, access to the county's legal resources as if they were their own, and the ability to direct the local police force like a personal security detail.
Canton Police Officer Nix, recorded line.
Hi, Officer Nix. This is Attorney Ken Mello. I believe I just spoke with your sergeant there.
How can I help you?
Hi, Sergeant Ken Mello again.
No problem.
Do me a favor. Take a look at Chapter 268, Section 13A.
So it looked up. So what do you want? What are you thinking of doing?
I'm looking at that statute and saying they're across the street. They're certainly near Albert's place.
All right.
He's a witness, and they're certainly there for purposes of influencing or whatever else the statute states.
Yeah.
They're not there for any other reason.
All right. So it's punishable by no more than a year in prison and a fine of no more than $5,000. So
Correct.
There's nobody left to stand up for us.
Okay.
Think real
Let's talk about that for a second. So what you were hearing just now was Ken Mello making a phone call to the to the Canton police. And it's because there were people standing out across the street of D&E Pizza, not in front of their business on the sidewalk, but across the street, protesting Chris Albert. Chris Albert lying. Chris Albert not telling the truth, not coming forward, being a Canton selectman, and having so much power. And clearly, if you just add 2 and 2, Turtle, thank you so much. Telling my kids Richie from Microdots is British. Thank you. So he's the Canton selectman. That means that he tells the Canton police what to do. But he took it a step further. Apparently, Chris Albert tells the Norfolk DA what to do. That is very, very telling. And this is something that we don't think about enough. Chris Albert had a direct line to Ken Mello, the special prosecutor once assigned, still is, I guess, technically, as special prosecutor to prosecute Turtle Boy. Now, Turtle Boy, since then, Ken Mello has come down with something, and Mr. Cosgrove has taken over. And Mr. Cosgrove is just an older, slower Ken Mello, basically. It's like, please speak faster. So yeah. And Chris Albert having this direct line to the Norfolk County DA's office is quite telling. It tells you what kind of power the Alberts have. And there's nothing about Chris Albert's demeanor that says that he is the top dog when it comes to the Alberts. Everyone can see who that clearly is, and that would be Brian. Like, Chris Albert doesn't have the same ingredients. You can tell. That's why he's on the select board. This is an organized racket that I believe the Alberts have in Canton. Mama Celeste. Gracias. This is clearly some sort of organized racket that's going on in Canton, because there's no way that D&E Pizza generates the kind of revenue that the Alberts live off of. There's just no way. There's just no way. Yeah, Chris is the bookmaker, bro. He's the he's the guy that he's the string puller. Brian Albert's just the he's the spotter. He's the one they get permission from. He's the one they're doing everything for. He's the one that ultimately runs everything. Chris Albert just does all the work. He's like a Brian Albert PA.
Long and hard before you're a witness in a case because no one protects you. Hard before you're a witness.
What do you mean think long and hard before you're a witness in a case? What does that mean? To lie? Think long and hard about what you how you're going to lie? Because it's not a question of think long and hard before you make the decision to be a witness in the case, because you got fucking subpoenaed, dude. Everybody got fucking subpoenaed. So you're implying that you had the choice to testify, is what you're saying here. Coco. That's what you're doing. You're implying that you had a choice to testify.
In a case because no one protects you.
Anyone who knows anything about this case knows that they've been protected with the full power of state government, with Chris Albert being a town selectman, the chief of...
Look at this frumpy asshole, bro. I can't fucking stand this guy. Like, I'm serious. This guy is the worst in the world, bro. Like, in just a different way than this fucking scary motherfucker over here. Like, this dude is just... like, there's no redeeming quality about this man at all. Someone married this guy, and I can't believe it.
Of police literally reports to him. But there's something interesting about this picture.
The police literally reports to him.
Where is Brian Higgins? If he's such close friends with Brian Albert, why isn't he here speaking in solidarity?
Right. Because Brian Higgins was his buddy, right? Brian Higgins was his buddy. I think Brian Higgins knew him better than Brian Albert did. So why isn't he there? And why doesn't his name come up? Because it sounds like they're just trying to separate themselves from him. Like, it sounds like Higgy's sanctuary is deteriorating from under his feet. Sounds like Higgy's now on a very lonely island.
Or at least sign off on the statement issued by the group following Reed's acquittal. According to nearly every other civilian Commonwealth witness, the negative attention they've received has brought them together. However, you get the sense that Brian Higgins and Brian Albert aren't quite as close as they once were.
I see what you did there, Microdots. I see what you did there. Oh my God, dude. That is absolutely fantastic.
Ha! Gay!
Like, he just lets it play. Look.
However, the negative attention they've received has brought them together. However, you get the sense that Brian Higgins and Brian Albert aren't quite as close as they once were.
Like, I didn't pause it. He's just like letting it bask.
As far as we know, the last communication they had was a text message from Kevin Albert to Higgins stating,
"Look, I want to know one more time, bro." Like,
however, you get the
Microdots,
sense that Brian Higgins and Brian
Microdots just says it, and then just lets it play. Just drink that shit in. Drink in the homo.
Brought them together. However, you get the sense that Brian Higgins and Brian Albert aren't quite as close as they once were. As far as we know, the last communication they had was a text message from Kevin Albert to Higgins, stating,
"Look, you went off the grid and Brian doesn't understand." You haven't called him. You haven't checked in on him since these subpoenas went out. Everyone got a subpoena but you.
People turned this thing into a tailgate party, it looked like, some days. Board games, cornhole, cookout.
I can only imagine what it must feel like.
Dude, what do you think people, like, what are people supposed to do when they're standing out in front of a courthouse to support somebody that they believe is innocent? Like, are they supposed to stand there like statues? What are they supposed to do, bro? You better believe I'm cooking out, dog. You better believe I'm cooking out, playing cornhole. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You better believe I'm making a thing out of it. Like, why can't it be a good time? Why can't being in the right side of things be a good time? You know what I'm saying?
Like to have a national movement built around
I mean, look at this guy's fucking face, dude. This guy is fucking stone cold, bro. There's nothing about this guy that looks innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Into a tailgate party, it looked like, some days.
Tailgate
Board games,
party.
cornhole, cookout.
I can only imagine what it must feel like to have a national movement built around the exposure of your darkest secrets, but that all came after John was murdered and has nothing to do with the evidence or facts of the case.
This is a guy that was murdered.
There's a guy unresponsive in the snow.
Tell them the guy never went in the house. Who was the guy that you were referring to? Does he have a name?
That would be John.
Dude, okay. I mean, that right there tells you everything. It tells you these guys, they're sitting there. This guy's talking about how he's going to take a bullet for somebody who, like, they just talk about him as the guy. That's all anybody's referred to him as since his alleged time of death. The guy. So that they could disassociate themselves from him, so they don't feel connected to him, so they don't feel close to him, so they're not more inclined to do the right thing. This is typical. You remove the name from the equation and it dehumanizes them. It desensitizes you to them, or it at least helps to. Typical behavior of people trying to cover up a murder. Exactly, microdots.
This group of family members framed Reed to cover up what really happened that night, ever since their lives becoming open season for endless conspiracy theories.
What they've done is they've dehumanized us.
Okay. You dehumanized yourselves. You dehumanized yourselves. You in particular, Chris Albert, you dehumanized yourself. You're supposed to be a leader in your community. And the example that you've set for every single time you're caught on someone's camera is that of someone who is of a very poor disposition. Not an honest person, not a kind person. Just a frumpy, mean asshole. And that doesn't make it that nobody dehumanizes you. You dehumanize yourself by acting like somebody who dehumanizes others.
To the sense where we're not real people.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it to come and yell at us.
Chris Albert's words fall flat after what you will see next. This clip appears to clearly capture him making vulgar, inappropriate remarks in front of Aiden's girlfriend. Listen closely. He's heard yelling something about banging her. A crude reference to Meredith, Aiden's partner.
I mean, we were just minding our So we were just trying to mind our own business. So what? What did I do? He came up to us. We were walking in.
See, this is what I was talking about the other night. Like, there's no this guy is right in front of the pizza shop, the business that he owns. No business owner who gives a fuck about their business would behave like that and allow others to behave like that in front of his business. There's no way that somebody who's smart enough to be on the Canton Select Board will, I don't even know if that's high, like a high bar. Probably not. I mean, it clearly isn't. But this guy has power over the Canton Police Department. Exactly, Microdots. No respect for the town. He's weaponized cops against just good people simply for encouraging this man to tell the truth.
Shitty Lexus that you got being for by fucking
No, we didn't.
2 seconds. Justice for Peter Berger. You'll beat my face.
Now we're going to play that again, but for those of you who don't know, Peter Berger, what Turtle Boy was saying there was justice for Peter Berger. Peter Berger is a man that Chris Albert killed back in the 90s, vehicular manslaughter, and Judge Beverly Cannoni's brother defended Chris Albert. And then you just have Beverly Cannoni behaving the way that she did this entire 2 trials. And that's supposed to be a coincidence. Right.
Shitty Lexus that you got being for by fucking
No, we didn't.
He really is, Microdots.
Justice for Peter Berger.
He really is, man. Aiden is amazing under pressure. Like, because I mean, when you think about it, dude, like what was going on here, these people were saying everything that they possibly could. They were throwing the best that they got. And the purpose of that was to get an emotional, physical response, to draw emotional, physical response from Turtle Boy to put him right into jail. That was what the intent was. They were all trying to do this. Now they all have charges on Turtle Boy because he supposedly intimidates them. But he's just there. He just went to go have a meal of food at CF McCarthy's because he likes their Santa Fe chicken wrap or whatever it was, something like that. And D&E Pizza's right next door. So Chris Albert here, and his kids which are basically his goons, are throwing whatever they can at Turtle Boy verbally, and even at one point, Sam Nagel, Ryan and Julie Nagel's brother. I mean, he's the afterbirth of one of them. He's the one who, like, he's the test tube one. I just the sperm that just barely made it, went through hell to get to the egg, and then you get Sam Nagel. You get that dude that came out. He's an absolute moron. And I'm sure his siblings know that he is too. You know what I mean? I'm sure they know that he is too. Yeah, like, I mean, he's obviously a moron. It's not a debatable thing. It's a fact. Like, when you watch that guy, when he's and this is what I'm talking about, is Turtle Boy's. And to go to Microdots' point, Turtle Boy's patience was amazing. This guy was actually, like, touching Meredith, and you could by watching the video, you could feel Aiden getting hot, dude. Like, you can feel it, man. No fucking joke. You could fucking feel it. But, like, yeah. Sam Nagel, remember the movie Twins? Sam Nagel was like, he was just the mess from the sperm milkshake. Yeah. Every time I watch that footage, I'm just like, yeah. I don't understand. Like that guy, yeah, he seems like a glue sniffer. For sure. Maybe he'll grow out of that, you know? But you're a loser, guy. Talks like that.
You'll beat my face. You could. You're right. You seem really intimidated.
So right there, that's Chris Albert threatening Turtle Boy. Threatening. After Turtle Boy already did 2 months in jail. Okay? He's got pending charges of witness intimidation, and he's not intimidating anyone. They're harassing him.
Intimidated. That park, that lucky loft we saw at 3 a.m. Oh, wait. Do you have a license, Chris? Do you get to keep your license after killing a man?
You don't want me in my car, right?
Do you? Oh, you need an escort, Chris? I'm not going to hurt you.
Yeah, Chris Albert just went, "You're going to walk me to my car, right?" Like, and he's like, "Yeah." And like, dude, all Turtle Boy's going to do is what he's doing right now.
Chris, I just want to ask you a few questions.
Oh, boy.
Oh, look who it is. Look who's here. Here she is.
You know what? I'm so sick of your shit.
Oh, she stole my phone.
I'm sick of your shit.
We're almost like caricatures.
Okay.
They seem to have done a
You're not almost like caricatures. You are. For now. And I'm going to explain I'm going to explain that a little bit. Chris Albert is telling absolutely the truth. Except he's inaccurate by saying almost. He's like, we're almost like caricatures. No, you are. Every one of you. I mean, look at my fucking thumbnail. Like, I think that you're all the only way that we get peace right now, and the kind of peace that we need to have patience for justice to happen, is to make clowns out of you, to show everybody what kind of clowns you people are. The McAlberts are absolutely fucking clowns. Like, you look at Jill Daniels and the way that she behaved that day, Jim Ferris, Chris Albert's driver, the selectmen, and he's employed a guy like that who like body checks women. Or maybe that wasn't him. No, he body checked Tom. That's right. He assaulted Turtle Boy that same day of that footage that we're looking at. I mean, this is, what are we supposed to do? Because we would just get angry. If we didn't make jokes out of these people, we would just get angry. And we still get angry at times. But these people are the only way to cope is to show what kind of clowns they actually are. Until they're indicted. Thrown into prison, federal prison. And then that's when they can be taken seriously as villains. But that's your only two choices, Chris Albert. You're either a fucking caricature or you're a hated villain. And you're already a hated villain to a lot. Some people don't think I'm funny. They just hate you. Some people don't think Turtle Boy's funny. They just fucking hate you. I mean, and rightfully so.
done a perfectly adequate job of dehumanizing themselves without help from anyone.
We're pawns.
Have each of you been called murderers? Like actual murderers?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking killed him. Karen did.
On a daily basis.
Anybody who's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point.
And anyone who's friends with us support prop killer.
The defense's theory.
Well, that's because all of that is absolutely true because the evidence dictates it. It's just a matter of time. Hopefully something happens because they wouldn't They wouldn't go on TV like this after Karen Reed is exonerated. None of those people look sorry for anything. None of those people, they look like the same pieces of shit that stood on the stand and lied in front of the world. Every single one of them. Every single one of those people that are sitting there on that panel fucking lied and perjured themselves on the stand in either or both trials. That fucking happened. So I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear none of that shit from them. Right. That's all. That's so easy. But they'd rather whine and bitch about how they're victims. Get the fuck out of here, dude. You guys are fucking cop killers. Stop it.
Theory? A violent altercation at the Alberts' home, possibly
Because
involving
that
other...
fucking 2:27 a.m. fucking search happened, bro. I do not give a fuck what anybody says. Nobody fucking butt dialed. People don't fucking destroy their phones. Cops don't fucking go and destroy their phones. They don't lie to the fucking feds. They don't lie to grand juries. Shut the fuck up.
Other members of law enforcement.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never. No.
Never. No. Look at him. Bro, Mike Gerdotz is so good at catching that right when you know where to look when it's a lie. He got that very millisecond right there. That was fucking beautiful. On the garage pick. Oh, what's my opinion on the garage pick TB shared? I'll tell you guys. The garage pick now, I maybe we'll go over it or something. Maybe, I don't know. But I took a pretty good look at it, and it really seems like some kind of mahogany paint. You know what I mean? Yeah, it just looks like paint. I don't think it's blood, you know? Now, here's a question. Did they, in a panic, try to spill paint all over the blood to try to cover it up? Because they're stairs? It's not like you could just rip the floor up. You got to well, maybe you could replace the stairs. Yeah. That would actually be easier than ripping the floor up. But I don't think that that's blood. Because it would be easy to fucking replace those stairs. Yeah, look at the catch right when he said he never went in the house. Watch.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never. No.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house,
Fucking
right?
brilliant.
Never. Never.
This family has, by all appearances, misled state officials.
Like that sounded as fucking sincere as Fletch. Where he's on the airplane and he's about to record something, and he's sitting there like, hold on, I gotta have at least this to tell it very well. So he's on the airplane and he's like, are you recording this? Me? No. And there's some lady right next to him. Fletch is like the best movie, dude. I love that fucking movie. But yeah, totally. That's as sincere as that came out. That's totally as sincere as that came out. When they were like, no, never.
This family has, by all appearances, misled state officials, lied to FBI investigators, and committed perjury in 2 separate trials. That context is important to keep in mind before assigning too much weight or credibility to what they told Matt Gutman on national television. At this point, they quite literally have nothing to lose. Anything they might say that could potentially get them in trouble has already been said under oath in open court.
These are people in your own community who believe the conspiracy theories, who believe that there were other law enforcement officials and agents involved in this. Why is it people in your own community who believe these conspiracy theories?
You do realize for this
See, this bullshit, and this is the other reason why I'm playing Microdot's video. And by the way, make sure to click on it and like it, please. the link I just dropped in chat. So it's very telling when the interviewer calls them conspiracy theories, because he's already leading and trying to buzzword the audience. You know what I mean? He's already leading the McAlberts here, and cushioning the overall perception of them for the audience. It's very, very troubling.
Conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people.
Right.
You'd have to have,
because I don't 30 to look at he's already got this conspiracy worked out. And the thing is I believe he has 30 to 50 people. So yeah, I wonder what questions were off the table too. And you talk a little bit about this, Microdots. And I don't want I honestly wasn't really interested in seeing this. And because the Proctor thing just put a bad taste in my mouth. I was just like, all right, man. It just did. And I knew these people were just gonna lie, and I knew all it was gonna do is make me mad. So, but I would rather, it's kind of like when you guys are like, yeah, I can't watch Plevin, but I can watch Plevin on the Glare. So it's kind of like that. Like I can watch Microdots breaking this down, but I can't fucking give these people a view and support them in any way.
have multiple cops on 2 different police departments, multiple civilians, the medical examiner, firemen, EMTs, you name it. That's how preposterous and silly this is. And great.
A fucking EMT, two EMTs, 2 first responders working for the fire department lied on the stand. What are you talking about, dude? This guy's naming everyone we already suspected of being in on this conspiracy. And the medical examiner was not on his side. They couldn't get the medical examiner, which is part of the reason why Karen Reed is free.
Great question. I don't understand how people bought this.
A straw man argument is when someone misrepresents another person's position to make it easier to attack. And this is a textbook example. The conspiracy only requires that 7 family members and 3 close friends all agree to say John never came into the house. Add in the crucial ingredient, 1 former lead investigator willing to help out a fellow cop and close family friend. Now you have everything you need to pin it on the girl and move on. After that, everyone who backs you up is doing it out of self-preservation or fear.
But a statement of mine was a false memory. It was not a lie.
But let's remember, the conspiracy didn't work, primarily because Karen fought back and brought in witnesses who these people never dreamed would be called on.
You can't state to any conclusion of accuracy what actually occurred if you don't have the evidence.
Sergeant Barrows, is this the condition of the right rear taillight when you showed up at the Reed household at around 3:15 in the afternoon on January 29th, 2022?
Absolutely not.
Brian Albert says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
Was just upset, and I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom?
Where was the German Shepherd, and why wasn't she barking at all of the activity out front? What about Jen's inexplicable call record?
Right.
Can you explain the butt dials? All great follow-up questions that the interviewer did not ask.
Dude.
These are the reasons no one believes you.
It's 6:30 in the morning right now.
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front.
If he was recalling an actual memory, I'd expect him to say something like, I remember this moment vividly. Jen stormed in and said, Brian, wake up right now. There's been a terrible...
Right. We're talking about a trained investigator of I don't know how many years. One that Hollywood thought they could market with a show called Boston's Finest and feature him. Because he's supposed to be such a badass, such a, you know, a TV cop, real life TV cop. You know what I mean? So, what's up, Mizzy? And yeah, the 507 call is everything. It just is. Plant Enchantress, thank you so much. The fact Brian Albert has the audacity to say, "What do you want me to run out in my undies and tape the scene?" shows they are guilty, right? He knows that's not what people mean. He makes it sound ridiculous and on purpose, right? It's a form of manipulation. It's a classic liar's technique, a good liar. Microdots, he's recalling the alibi, not a memory. Exactly. And it's very telling. You can just tell by the vibe. You know, you just got to know people, dude. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy, like you look at all the facts and you look at the things that he's saying and they just don't fucking track. And it doesn't take a fucking trained investigator to know that. It takes somebody who has lived on this planet for a good while and has interacted with enough people and had enough experiences with enough people. It's just that simple. And Brian Albert, every McAlbert sitting on that panel is a fucking liar. Every single one of them. And they know it.
Terrible accident outside. Somehow John ended up hurt badly on the front lawn in the snow. So I jumped out of bed, threw on a robe and ran downstairs. But instead he says this.
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front. I think John's dead out front. I said, what the are you talking about, Jen? I'm like, who? I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it
I
together.
didn't understand what she was talking about because why would John be out front of my house?
So massively confusing. There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn. You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a.
That's the only good question this guy fucking asked.
Canton police officer. I'm a Boston.
And that is a terrible answer. That's not what he's asking, sir. I'm going to AJ his ass. That's not what he's asking, sir.
Go outside and investigate or take a look.
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer. I was just woken up out of a cold sleep from.
That is passing the buck. That is just plain passing the buck. Amerigator, Brian controls the interview. The others look at him after every question. They wait for his lead and then reiterate what he says. Right. It's very fascinating. Now, right. Any cop would go out regardless. Exactly, Microdots. Exactly. Any cop would go out regardless. What you're hearing the behavior indicative of a criminal. I was talking about this with the LV cops earlier on Gonzo's very emotional send-off. And I was talking with them about this. And the thing that all criminals seem to have in common is this sense of entitlement and this sense of a fear of accountability, a lack of accountability, right? There's never a sense of accountability in any way, shape, or form. If he was a better liar, he would have came up with something a lot better than that. Because there's no excuse why somebody with his instincts, there's no way you're going to be a Boston cop for that many years. Fugitive apprehension, dude. That means you got to think like a fucking criminal. And he's acting like a criminal right now by shifting accountability. That is what a criminal would do. It is a coward's way out. That is what criminals do. He knows this just as well as I do. He absolutely knows this. If it was his job to apprehend criminals, I guarantee you Brian Albert would sit here right now and agree with me that every single fucking criminal has that in common, that they cannot take any accountability. Guaranteed. There's always an excuse and there's always somebody to fucking blame. And here's this guy going, hey, man, I'm not a Canton cop. I'm a Boston cop. But that's your friend, and he's a cop, and you're a cop. You're both Boston cops. So you can't run down there and try to save his life. You're not going to go down there, not trust what anybody else said. And even still, you go down there, any cop who's a Boston cop that would take a bullet for the person laying there and EMTs are working on him, that Boston cop and friend that he would take a bullet for would ask, is there anything I can do? Do you need anything from me? Very simple. What can I do? Is there anybody that needs to ask me any questions? I want to help in any way that I can. I know this guy. Why not? There's no way a cop who takes the oath that they take lacks that kind of integrity unless they're fucking dirty or unless they're guilty of something. There's just no fucking way. You're not going to convince me of that because that's an insult to the entire Boston Police Department. I don't give a fuck what you say. That is clearly an insult to the entire Boston Police Department for a Boston police officer to go, hey, man, wasn't my problem. I'm a Boston cop. I ain't a Canton cop. I don't give a fuck. I don't fuck my neighborhood and fuck the Boston cop that was laying there too. I mean, that's how that is. That's exactly basically what he just said in so many words.
Hanging out the night before. By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house. John was already gone. There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop. That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. It makes zero sense. What am I supposed to do?
Well, here's the tricky part that you just can't get around, Mr. Brian Albert. There's the tricky part that you just can't get around here is that John didn't need you to take a bullet for him. What he needed you to do was run down and check on him and save his life. When Jen McCabe talked to your sister at 5:07, you should have been waiting out front for you guys to arrive. I mean, 5:07 is bullshit because you guys were out pretending to look around. Jen McCabe, Carrie Roberts. Or she had just talked to Karen. So, period. I mean, it's just that simple because we know for a fact that when Jen McCabe called 911, she called her sister answered it. So is it on Nicole? Is it on Coco? Did she just not wake you up? Because I call bullshit on that. No fucking way. No fucking way. Coco's going to know that there's a cop in the house and you guys actually want to save his life. And she's not going to fucking go, Brian, wake up. Wake the fuck up. John's down there in the lawn. Go see if he's okay. See if you can help him. Oh, shit. Run on down there. We all know that this shit happened, dude. Like we know these phone records are intact, except when Ian Whiffen gets a hold of them. My dad is an ex-cop. He hears dog, hears the slightest noise and outside on his porch in his skivvies with his shotgun looking around. He's lying. He's totally fucking lying. You're a cop. You got these instincts. You got these instincts, dude. Any cop will fucking tell you that. Every cop I've talked to has told me this. There's just an instinct. And you can tell he's got those instincts in his cold fucking killer eyes. You can tell how fucking savvy this guy is by looking at his eyes. This guy can lie effortlessly. The problem is that his lies are not believable. Nobody believes that a cop with his experience didn't know that John O'Keefe was lying out there in the snow. And we don't believe that if he did know, that he didn't deliberately avoid. We believe that that he absolutely deliberately avoided saving John. I believe he knew John was down there the whole time. As a matter of fact, I think he had something to do with putting him out there in the first place. The fact of the matter is, this guy, the fact of the matter is John O'Keefe did not need Brian Albert to take a bullet for him. He needed him to simply try to help him, save his life, protect him from whatever was happening inside his house, not egg it on. Shaylin, thank you so much. They look at Brian when answering too. Sus. Yeah, they do.
Run out front my underwear and start running yellow tape around the fire hydrant.
No, that responsibility belonged to the Canton Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police.
Which they failed
If
to
these
do.
individuals were truly innocent, their anger wouldn't be aimed at Karen Reed's defense team. It would be directed at Michael Proctor and the law enforcement agencies that mishandled the investigation and, for reasons still unexplained, chose not to clear them as suspects.
I spoke with a juror tonight who told me she believes a collision did not occur.
Overall, a lot of the evidence had caused reasonable doubt, and that was enough for us not to convict.
A little after 6 a.m., Karen found John's body in the snow. Jen called 911.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a man passed out in the snow.
Hello?
But what raised eyebrows at Reed's trial was a defense theory about a Google
A
search
man
Jen had
passed
made
out
about
in the
how
snow.
long it takes to die in the cold. The defense claiming she searched it before O'Keefe's body was found.
So much has been made about that Google search that morning. Was it at 6 a.m. or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long to die in the cold? What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at 6:20, whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much I say about it, people will not believe.
Bro. Let's just get real, dude.
You're lying. And you're a piece of shit.
Ironically, what Jen is saying here is actually true. She's completely lost all credibility. No matter what she says, no one will ever believe her. That's what happens when you change your story from one trial to the next, lie to the FBI, and still expect to be taken at your word, despite digital forensic evidence proving otherwise.
The group also hoping to clear up rumors regarding the Alberts' dog, Chloe, who had been rehomed after the incident. The defense claimed the dog was involved in O'Keefe's death.
Those wounds were inflicted as the result of a dog attack. Those marks are from teeth.
They've known.
Bro.
Were inflicted as the result of a dog attack. Those marks are...
Dude, there's no way a fucking taillight did that. It just, that just doesn't make sense. It's not indicative to how the Commonwealth theorized he was hit. It's just not.
Are from teeth.
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
Matt McCabe chimes in.
The state shared it with them.
With yet an
years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
Matt.
They've known for
the state shared it with them.
2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it.
Hold on.
Are from teeth.
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The
I just got to do this for a second.
State shared it with them.
Matt.
Where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
Matt.
Where Chloe is. The state
shared it with them.
Matt McCabe.
Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
Matt McCabe.
That shit is so funny. Matt McCabe's such a fucking tool, bro.
McCabe chimes in with yet another lie. The defense didn't receive new information about the dog's whereabouts until just months before trial. The Commonwealth never disclosed her location, the identity of her new
Never
owner,
happened.
or provided any concrete proof that the dog in question was actually Chloe.
The trial's over. Karen Reed's been convicted, and guess what? They never produced Chloe. They never produced the owners in Vermont. Why wouldn't they call the owners from Vermont to the stand? Chloe's in the same place where the flooring, the original flooring of 34 Fairview is. I mean, that's it. I don't give a shit what anyone says. The verdict dictates that.
Oh, by that point, the Commonwealth was desperate and could not be trusted.
And just so you know, the verdict dictates this because if Karen Reed didn't hit John, he must have went in the house. Simple. Karen Reed didn't hit John. Somebody in that house killed him. It is just that simple. And all of the evidence supports that. The Google search at 2:27 a.m. supports that. The butt dials. Higgins' behavior at the waterfall. The motive with Karen, but I don't think that was the motive. All of this tracks. All of this supports that John O'Keefe was killed inside that house.
A much more interesting question for Brian Albert would be for him to explain why he lied about the dog's history.
But importantly, Your Honor,
What's up,
you
James
have
Jackson?
been lied to by Brian
Turbulence in the
Albert.
chat.
In opposing our motion to get the animal control records, Mr. Albert's attorney told you that Mr. Albert's dog, Chloe, had no history of attacking human beings. Thank goodness you ordered the records, Your Honor, because we learned that was a lie. And to be clear, I do not believe for a second that Brian Albert's attorney, Greg Henning, would lie to this court. That leaves only one possibility. Brian Albert lied to him.
Right.
Brian Albert told him that Chloe had never attacked a person. Brian Albert was desperate to keep these records secret from the defense and was willing to lie to keep them secret. The fact that those records have now been brought to court and reveal that Chloe attacked not just one, but two people in the past, sending them both to the hospital. Brian Albert lied, which is powerful evidence of his consciousness of the guilt case, that information was kept from you.
That's right. Fuck yeah. Another banger from Microdots, people. Another banger. Yeah, man. Amazing. Well done. Make sure, guys, to click on it and give it a like. Make sure it gets all the views and likes. So, I'm gonna take a minute and chill something here. I started a Patreon, okay, and well, I already had a Patreon. I just started making content for it again. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna share a link in Patreon for Patreon members only. And tonight, we are gonna watch The Notebook, and I am going to ruin it. So for those of you who hate the Notebook, you're going to enjoy it. Those of you who love The Notebook, you're still going to enjoy it. So I'm going to really, really fuck this movie up for those people who like this movie. And so let me here real quick. Let me put it in the chat here. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do following this live stream, guys. So that's what I'm going to do following this live stream. So I really hope to see you guys there. I've got a good few big Patreon members now. Last week we did Top Gun, and that went really well, I thought. So so join my Patreon. You can do the minimum tier, which is like $5, man. I'm happy for whatever you guys just think, whatever this shit's gonna be worth, man. That's what it's all about. But I want to give my my Patreon members something. So I started this idea because Kick can now, you can stream copyrighted content. You don't get it stricken or booted off, and it's gonna happen. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Let me see if dude, hold on a second. Hold on. Give me 1 second here, folks.
What?
Hey, where's the link, dude?
You have to do it when you need it, though.
No.
Get it ready, but
I need to set it up so that when I'm done with this live stream, okay, and you're live, by the way. When I'm done
see,
with
you're a
this,
fucking asshole.
when
I hate you so fucking much right now.
when I'm live, when I finish the live, my Patreon members can go right to the Patreon site and they can click on the link, and then it'll take them over.
Yes,
to where
you
I'm going.
fucking knobheads, but you have to put in the fucking code, remember?
You have to put in the fucking code. I don't even know what that means. What code?
Oh my god, you are such a fucking dickhead.
You see how I get treated? You see this, people?
See how you get treated?
Right.
Fuck you.
Just like I need the link set up so that
You
I
need to
can.
get your shit together is what you need.
I
But
got
you
my shit
still
together.
slacking.
I got my shit together.
No, you don't. Clearly.
Okay, for a second. Here, listen. Colleen, listen.
What?
No, I'm talking to somebody in chat. You just sit there quiet for a second.
You bet. You got such a knobhead.
Cherry doesn't sleep, Colleen. This is what you have to understand about Cherry. She doesn't sleep. And she will drink whiskey for like a week. And then she won't.
This is my third day.
This is your third day? This is the third day? Okay. So
The full bottle.
yeah, she's Irish. Like, yeah, this is as drunk as she gets, by the way. That's it. Like, this is because she's Irish. But she's English. She's Irish by blood, but she's English.
Hater.
I'm not hating. I'm just saying Cherry can drink anybody here under the table. That is fucking yeah. She don't weigh but like $103. Just saying, man. I'm just saying.
You're just jealous because that's the size of your head.
Whatever. Will you?
Asshole.
Can you please make the fucking link?
I've already done it. You need to be like ready to have the code.
Why can't you just put it in the fucking DM? Oh, that's right. The 6-digit code that gets sent. You gotta.
Now he finally
Okay.
gets it. Wow, he can be cool. Ladies and gentlemen, he can figure shit out.
Okay.
I'm so proud of you.
All right. Okay. All right. Cherry, you are not very nice. Nobody. All booing you. They're all booing you right now. They are.
You wish.
They are. They're all booing you. Okay. So
You wish they were.
they are. They're totally booing. They are. They are.
Mhm.
It's really sad too. It's not fair and it's not nice.
Ooh, you suck.
Hey, that's not nice, people. Don't say those things about Jerry.
They all know you're a bellend. They've been
Yeah,
around for a minute.
whatever. Hey, tell me if this sounds like somebody hanging up. Okay, people. So I don't know. I think there's more stuff that I kind of wanted to go over. Let me see what we got here. All right, man. All right. Dude, hell yeah. Let's go over let's keep it nice for now. Let's keep it nice. Watch this real quick.
Floating. That's what Karen Reed's mom said a short time ago. Reed's parents gave 25 investigators reporter Ted Daniel their first sit-down interview since Reed was acquitted of her most serious charges. And Ted joins us now in studio. Ted, you traveled south to speak to the Reeds.
Yeah, Mark, we spoke to Bill and Janet Reed at their home in Dighton, where Karen has also been living. They just returned from Boston Seaport, where they spent the night with their daughter and her team.
We like Ted Daniel.
Celebrating until 2 a.m.
Alan Jackson came up to me moments before that jury came in, and he squeezed my back and he said,
"We love you, Bill."
Look at my wife, and I said, he said, "Guys, we got this."
Bill and Janet Reed, 24 hours after the verdict heard across the country.
I knew then I only had to hear one not guilty, and I knew it was going to be okay. And I grabbed Bill and Nathan. They were sitting outside of me just to hold them, and their arms were both shaking.
Bill Reed says the cheers outside the courthouse did not go unnoticed.
When they erupted, it made me proud to be an American.
Yeah.
You know, that
I love
people
that.
were behind us. And when it erupted and filtered through that courtroom,
Janet Reed tells me she hopes her daughter is able to get time away from Massachusetts. She says the 1-year probation she received for her drunk driving conviction does not prevent her from leaving the state.
I mean, it has to be the most expensive DUI conviction in the history of prosecutions, right?
I can't think of one that's even close.
Defense attorney and law tuber Peter Tragos says the O'Keefe family can still pursue their wrongful death lawsuit against Reed in civil court. He believes the civil case would be stronger had Reed been convicted of murder.
If they would have got this conviction, it's a slam dunk case, and they're just trying to prove how much. What is it worth? What is John O'Keefe's life worth? They would have just been arguing about damages if this would have been a guilty verdict.
The O'Keefe family has a...
I mean, that's week 1 right there at the Glare Institute of Law and stuff, Peter, bro. I mean, but no, I'm just kidding. Peter's awesome.
Much different view of what happened. They believe Karen Reed got away with murder. Reed herself with her family members and legal team in Boston still when we spoke with her parents. I'm Ted Daniel for your local station, Boston 25 News.
Ted, fuck yeah, bro. That was awesome. Now I want to go over this lady. This lady. Now I've gone over her. It's been a minute, man. She chimed in on this case, and I would review her videos just for fun. So remember, I told you I was bringing back Petty, and this falls under that category. Now this, for those of you who've been with me for a while, you remember me going over this lady before, and I like to slow her down because she sounds drunk and insane even more. It just enhances, and it's so much fun. This lady. Now, she claims to be a criminal profiler, but she is easily one of the dumbest fucking people I've ever heard talk about this case. Like, every single time she knocks the stupid right out of the park. Like, it's a grand slam stupid every time. Now, I haven't watched this yet. I'm reacting to it.
Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and this is part 3 of my 5-part series on Karen Read and lay jury failure. And
You know she's got a fucking moo-moo on, dude. Like, you know she wears a moo-moo everywhere and she yells at cats. Guarantee you she yells at cats. That's what she spends the majority of her day doing, yelling at cats. And they have horrible fucking stupid names like Whiskers. You know? Like the one that likes to pee everywhere and makes the house smell like piss. Tinkles. Tinkles, did you do that again, Tinkles? Did you do that again, Tinkles? You know, I don't even smell it anymore. That's how she talks to her cat. You know, I don't even smell it anymore. I don't even care. I just won't give you water at night. How do you like that, Tinkles? I guarantee you, bro.
And I don't mean lay jury failure just in this one particular case, but in general. I am for a professional jury system. I've stood by that for years. And I know I'm not going to get into the constitutional issues because people always argue about that. I'm arguing about the reality of why we stick with lay juries when they clearly are illogical. Okay, so today.
Okay. This lady's argument. This is why I say she's easily one of the stupidest ladies in the world. I'll let that play one more time so that you guys can catch it and it can resonate a little bit more, because it probably didn't sink in, because something that stupid could fly right over your head because you have a natural instinct to blow it off. Okay? I'm going to play it again. Pay close attention to what she just fucking said out loud on a fucking YouTube channel.
I've stood by that for years. And I know I'm not going to get into the constitutional issues because people always argue about that. I'm arguing about the reality of why we stick with lay juries when they clearly are illogical. Okay, so today.
So what she's saying here, in case you didn't catch it, what she's saying here is that only professional people, only experts should be jurors. That a jury, in essence, what she's saying is a jury should not be made up of your peers. That you should no longer have the right to a jury of your peers, because the layperson might have some street smarts required to read certain witnesses. That's why you choose 12 of them. That's the whole point. That's why you choose 12 of them, so that there's a little bit of everything. There's all needed to discuss the nature of the evidence of the case and review it. You don't need, I don't want to be judged by people who can't relate to me, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point. The whole point is you're right. And notice how she blew that off. She was like, I don't want to get into the constitutional issues of it. I've just always had that position that it's the reality that a lay person, it's illogical. No, dude, a jury full of lay people is not illogical at all. Now, I admit that a jury full of idiots like you is illogical. That would suck. But this moron would probably not even get chosen for a fucking jury. I mean, she's a moron. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard. I don't want to get into the constitutional issues. Like, she just calls herself a criminal profiler. That's all she does.
This third part. I want to talk about not understanding the totality of evidence. Okay, so the first part was 12 people of a bus stop. How I point out that, you know, instead of getting 12 trained people like we would in any other profession, for if you went to a doctor, you'd want a professional. If you went to a lawyer, you'd want a professional. If you go,
like, she's got slippers with cat faces on them, dude. Furry slippers with cat faces on them that have caked on cat shit all over the bottom of them. I guarantee you.
Go to college, you want a professional. But when you go, you know, you get accused of murder, you get 12 people of a bus stop who have no training whatsoever. Doesn't make sense. Check that out. Part 2 was a jury of your peers. What the heck is a jury of your peers anyway? So now part 4 after this one is going to be what the heck whatsoever. Accused of murder, you get 12 people of a bus stop who have no training whatsoever. Doesn't make sense. Check that out. Part 2 was a jury of your peers. What?
It makes perfect sense.
No training whatsoever. Doesn't make sense. Check that out. Part 2 was a jury of your peers. What the heck is a jury of your peers anyway? So now.
You know, I wish I was watching this with right now, with the mighty Mark Betterow. I would love. I wish that I had him up here right now while I was going over this. Like, he would love this shit. Homie would love this shit. He would be eating this lady's shit up, dude. This is the funniest, fucking, most ridiculous amount of bullshit. This lady is calling herself an expert. She's shown up on television as a criminal profiler. And she is sitting here saying that a jury of your peers, the concept of a jury of your peers is absurd. I love it.
So now part 4 after this one is going to be not understanding how things work. And part 5 is going to be how Americans really do not trust the jury system, the lay jury system. They really don't. And I'm going to show you why they don't, in spite of the fact they claim they do. So part 3 here is going to be not understanding the totality of evidence. All right, what does that even mean? What does totality of evidence mean? If anybody ever follows my YouTube channel, and I examine cases, I talk about over and over again the totality of evidence, the totality of evidence. This is the big issue. My YouTube channel. And I examine cases, I talk about over and over again the totality of evidence, the totality of evidence. This is the big evidence, the totality of 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 evidence. This,
you know what this lady reminds me of? Like, you know what I think this lady is? She's like, she looks like Plevin in a skin suit. It's like if Plevin if Plevin was a serial killer like Ed Gein, like, and he dressed up in a skin suit, bro, that's what he would look like this lady. Oh my god, dude. This lady is too much, bro. I love it.
This is the big issue. And there should be such the totality of evidence should, in a court case, should get to the point where the totality of evidence supports so well the guilt of the defendant that there is no reasonable doubt. Now, if the totality of evidence is not very total. In other words, the totality of evidence is really weak, or there's a lot. It's not very total. Reasonable doubt. Now, if the total,
bro, this lady's too much, bro. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. What is she saying here, dude?
Totality of evidence is not very total. In other words, it's not very total. In other words, it's not very total. This is not It's not very total. In other words, it's not some. It's not very total. In other words,
The totality of evidence is not very total. She's exactly right, as a matter of fact. That's called reasonable doubt. And that's why the jury didn't convict. Unreal.
in other words, the totality of evidence is really weak, or there's a lot. Some of the evidence really points the other direction. Then that is reasonable doubt. But here is I'm going to read you first.
Then what the
comment
fuck
I got
are you
from a
talking
lawyer
about?
on X. And then I want to read you what totality of evidence means. He said, is, quote, totality of the evidence a haughty way of saying, ignore what doesn't fit into your initial gut impression of the case that you have stubbornly clung to. You just hedged by writing ample evidence, as you must realize that blah, 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 blah. And he goes on.
Oh, Artie.
You just hedged by writing ample evidence, as you must realize that blah, 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 blah. And he goes, evidence, as you must realize that blah, 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 blah. And he goes, as you must realize that blah, 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 blah. Ample evidence, as you must realize that blah, 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 blah. And he goes,
Such a child. I am such a child. This shit is too much.
So basically saying that when I say totality of evidence, I'm only saying the totality I want to believe in, and I'm going to ignore the other totality of evidence. That is not what totality of evidence means.
That's not what the jury did, dummy.
Wants me to appear as though I didn't consider all the evidence. But here is what it really means. And most people going into court do not know this. I do not believe they're even. I'd be really wondering whether this is what a jury hears when they go into court. Now, mind you, I've never been in a court as a juror because I'm not allowed in a court as a juror because I'm a criminal profiler. Defense attorney will never allow that. So I've never seen the inside.
But you're not a criminal profiler. You just think you are. The reason why, I mean, yes, if you were an actual criminal profiler, that would mean that they wouldn't let you in the court. They wouldn't let you be a juror. For sure. But that's not the reason they're not going to let you on as a juror. The reason why they're not going to let you on as a juror is because you think that you're a criminal profiler, which is way worse. It's for a completely different reason. They don't want wacky ass people on the jury. That's the whole point, lady. They just don't want wacky ass people. Okay? You're a wacky ass person. Whack and wacky. Okay? You're just plain fucking crazy.
Inside of a court as a juror. But I would like them to say these things at the beginning of the trial, and I do not think it's true. But here's what. This is a good, simple explanation. In a trial, the totality of evidence refers to the complete body of information. Understand this is what the lawyer was trying to say. That it didn't mean, which it does. The complete body of information.
What lawyer? Which lawyer are you talking about? Did you watch the trial? Because I don't think you did. Because you're not saying anything that makes any fucking sense at all right now.
That it didn't mean, which it does.
Like, let's just be honest, dude. She launched this shit with saying that a jury of your peers is an absurd notion. It's an absurd concept. Like she launched this tirade with that. Like that's all I need. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing that she's gonna say. Like there's nothing that she's gonna say that I'm gonna be like, oh, well, that's true.
The complete body of information that is presented to the court. So you are considering what the defense attorney says, and you're considering what the prosecution says. You're listening to all the experts. It's all the evidence put together, every single freaking bit of it. The complete body of information presented to the court, which must be considered as a whole. when making a decision, not in isolation. And this is
Lady, okay, I need you to shut the fuck up for a second because, dude, listen, dude. I have said this countless times throughout covering the Karen Reed debacle, the Karen Reed sham. And there is absolutely no justification for Karen Reed's right for that jury to know that the FBI was investigating the Norfolk County DA's office to be violated. There was no justification for that. Karen Reed's rights were absolutely violated. Information was kept from that jury, and it was kept from that jury by Judge Beverly Cannoni. That's a fact. That is not indisputable. Information, vital information, exculpatory evidence, exculpatory evidence was kept from that jury by the judge. Now, when does that happen? So I don't know what the fuck this lady's even talking about, if I'm being honest.
the problem I saw with the Karen Reed trial. I'm not going to get into which juror said what. Again, I feel for all the jurors who put. Again, I
like she almost said duh.
I feel for all the jurors who put their efforts into, to sitting through this trial and doing the best they could under the circumstances, which they had no training and under tremendous pressure from everybody, especially those outside the courtrum. But I saw them choose things in isolation. In other words, I didn't understand this piece of evidence. Therefore, I'm going to say that's reasonable doubt. That is not how you determine a case. That is not how it works.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's what the expert witnesses are there for, dummy. The expert witnesses are there to explain it to the lay people. That's why you have expert witnesses. You wouldn't need expert witnesses if you had an expert jury. Why would you need them? What are you talking about, lady? The entire point of the expert witnesses is to explain to the layperson. Because if it's beyond a reasonable doubt, there's no reason why you can't dumb it down for anyone to understand. There is always going to be a way to dumb it down for any layperson to understand. If it's the truth and if it is fact. This lady's a moron, dude. This is really funny.
If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Remember that one? That was garbage. There was such a tremendous amount of evidence that said O.J. Simpson was guilty of the crime, yet.
But there was reasonable doubt because the nature of the evidence was in question due to the fact that the lead investigator was a racist and that the lead investigator, there were tons and tons of recordings. This lady's acting like she never even fucking paid attention to the OJ trial, and all she paid attention to was the glove part. Like, is she forgetting the fact that the law gods fucking rained fucking gold on Johnny Cochran and OJ's defense team? Why? Because I'll explain it. I've done this before many times, but I'll explain this very, very quickly. This is the only reason why O.J. Simpson got away with killing his victims, Nicole Brown Simpson and oh my God, I always forget the boy. It's a good kid too, and I always forget his name. Nicole Brown System and Jesus. It's funny. I know details of the case better than I know that dude's Ron Goldman. God, thank you, Ron Goldman. Okay. All right. Sorry, Ron Goldman. Sorry, Goldmans. I apologize. It's just been a minute and I get brain farts. But I mean, the law gods rained gold on Johnny Cochran, man. Look at what was going on. Everything happened just perfectly for OJ. Everything. The LA riots just happened. The LA riots just happened because the public in LA was sick and tired of racism because a bunch of racist cops beat the hell out of a black guy on video. Rodney King. They did it on video, right? They were caught on video and they all got away with it. So there was a riot. There was a riot after years and years of the LAPD taking matters in their own hands, a lot of police brutality. Nothing's ever done about it. Somebody caught it on video. Finally caught it on video. And here, the community in Los Angeles County felt like they were finally going to get some justice and something that was a real problem was going to change. And it didn't happen. And then there were the riots. And then you've got a still pretty hot jury. They're not boiling like everyone was during the riots, but they're hot. You know what I mean? And then you got Mark Furman. Mark Furman, the lead investigator. Turns out he's recorded saying that he's planted evidence many times that he's a racist. I mean, just dropping N-bombs. I mean, Mark Furman, this was all the reasonable doubt that jury, that particular jury needed. It was more than enough reasonable doubt. It was reasonable doubt handed on a bow, in a bow. That's what happened. The glove, everybody focuses on the glove a lot, but the glove actually was a big deal. It was definitely, but it was more, it wasn't so much that it didn't convince the jury. It was a bad move for the second chair prosecutor in that case to have OJ put on the glove. That's all that was. It was a bad move on his part to do that. It was poor judgment on his part. It was against Marcia Clark's better judgment. She didn't want to do it. And he went over her head and went ahead and did it. And sure enough, OJ acted like he couldn't do it. He couldn't put him on. They had the case until, but that's what everyone says, that they had the case until he tried to put on the glove. No, that jury, they were not going to convict OJ with Furman being the lead investigator, with LA still smoking. That's just not going to happen.
Well, actually, that was probably, the jury made a decision. Oh, yeah, well, see, the glove didn't fit. Okay, it's probably a racial thing, too. But, there were, again, emotions and other political issues that were all wrapped up in that case that had nothing to do with the evidence. Let's go to Kaylee Anthony.
Well, that's the thing. See, this is just someone who's just way too opinionated, who doesn't really pay attention to how the law works. And she's talking about how the law works. She doesn't seem to understand the simple concept of reasonable doubt. You have to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And if the lead detective has admitted to planting evidence for racist reasons, and the defendant is a black man, a very rich one, and successful one, a legendary one, well, that's reasonable doubt. That's more than enough reasonable doubt.
Which had
I couldn't convict unless there was like footage of OJ like entering the house at the time of death, like unmistakable evidence that is just airtight. Smoking gun bullshit, somebody seeing him, an eyewitness, that sort of shit. Then I would be like, all right. If that's the case, I would be like, all right, man, like whether or not the cop was, I mean, I don't give a fuck. The evidence is overwhelming, dude. Like, we can't let the politics of what's happening in this county right now affect justice. That's our job, is to make sure that justice is served here regardless of the outcome. But
no racial issues, no gender issues, pretty much. No gender, just no basic issues, except for Kaylee Anthony was murdered. And Jose Baez was a great defense attorney. I consider him a scumbag, but hey, he's still a great defense attorney. If I were in her shoes, I'd want him too. Who are you going to get? The person, the defense attorney, if I were in her shoes, I'd want him too. Who are you going to get? Hey, he's still a great defense attorney. If I were in her shoes, I'd want him too. 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 Who are you going to get? The person that's going to get you off. And what did he say? He brought up some idea in isolation that her daddy might have drowned Kaylee in the pool. And the jury's like, well, that could have happened. That's an isolated claim. That is not even proven. But they're saying, well, since I don't know, the defense attorneys definitely don't want you to believe in it.
This guy,
defense attorneys are more into shadow of
killing me right now. So hold on one second. She's got a really misleading picture for her. 12 people bus stop. Okay, never mind. All right. Just to save some time. Yeah. Guys, if you guys want to keep going, I'm going to end this stream. But if you guys want to keep going, join Patreon. I'm doing a Patreon stream right after this. I mean, not immediately after this. I still got to set it up. But I'll be sharing. Just keep checking. You should get a notification once you join Patreon. Once you download the Patreon app and join Patreon, then you will most likely you should get a notification. If not, just keep checking. And yeah, I'm going to be going over the notebook. So the way that I review some of these people, I'm going to be doing with your favorite movies. And it's still early. It's still in its experimental phase. But Top Gun went really, really well. So we're going to do the Notebook tonight because I fucking hate that movie. I hate it so much. And I'm going to be sipping some wine and yeah, so it's just going to be fun. So I hope you guys will be there. So just join click on the link that's pinned to the top of the chat, join Patreon, and you should be able to get a notification. All right. Yeah, you guys are absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys. Make sure to hit the like on your way out if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you are already subscribed, make sure to hit the notification bell so that you know when I'm going live, because I go live on the fly pretty much all the time. So I am really, really excited to hang out with you guys further tonight on a much lighter note. Yeah. Guys, I love you very much, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.